On a quiet summer morning in July 2007, the peaceful town of Cheshire, Connecticut, was shattered by a crime so brutal, it would be etched into the darkest chapters of the state's history. William Petit, a respected endocrinologist, lived in this idyllic suburb with his wife Jennifer Hawk Petit and their two daughters, 17-year-old Haley and 11-year-old Michaela. A family like any other, full of hope and promise. But on that fateful day, two violent intruders, armed and desperate, broke into their home. What started as a robbery spiraled into a nightmare beyond belief. Jennifer was forced to withdraw money at a bank, desperately trying to signal for help. Haley and Michaela were bound, trapped, and soon victims of a merciless attack. Dr. Petit was beaten and left for dead in the basement. How did this horrific event unfold? What drove the attackers to such savage cruelty? And how did Dr. Petit survive to tell this tragic story? This is the story of the worst family massacre in Connecticut history, a tale of terror, survival, and the quest for justice that shook a community to its core. Stay with us as we uncover the chilling details behind the Cheshire home invasion, piece by piece. The Petit family's story begins in the peaceful town of Cheshire, Connecticut, a place where neighbors knew each other, children played freely, and crime was nearly unheard of. It was the kind of community many dream of raising a family in. Dr. William Petit was a respected endocrinologist who had spent years caring for patients with dedication and quiet professionalism. His calm nature was reflected not only in his work, but also in how he approached life at home. A man devoted to both his family and his career, William was seen by many as a pillar of strength and kindness. Jennifer Hawk Petit, his wife, shared that devotion. A registered nurse by profession, Jennifer balanced a demanding career with her role as a loving mother. Her friends described her as warm and nurturing, someone deeply involved in their children's lives and their community. Jennifer was active in local volunteer efforts, often dedicating her time to charitable causes and school activities. Together, William and Jennifer had two daughters who were the center of their world. Haley, the eldest at 17, was a high school senior with a bright future ahead. Ambitious and intelligent, she dreamed of following in her father's footsteps into the medical field. Friends spoke of her as a kind, hard-working young woman with a contagious smile and a passion for helping others. Michaela, only 11, was the heart of the family's joy. Full of energy and curiosity, she was known for her playful spirit and close bond with her sister. Teachers admired her eagerness to learn and her warm personality that lit up any room. The Petit family's home was a sanctuary, a place filled with love, laughter, and plans for the future. Their neighbors often saw them hosting barbecues in the backyard or attending church and community events together. It was a picture of suburban bliss. But beneath this calm exterior, the family lived a life, much like millions of others, trying to balance work, school, and family time. They had hopes and dreams, plans that would never come to fruition. This was a family who believed in safety and trust. The idea that strangers could invade their home, destroy their lives, and leave lasting scars was unimaginable to those who knew them best. The stark contrast between the quiet normalcy of their everyday life and the horror that awaited would soon shock not just their community, but the entire nation. To truly understand the horror that unfolded in the Petit family home, we need to look closely at the two men behind the crime, Joshua Komisarjevsky and Stephen Hayes. Joshua Komisarjevsky was 27 years old when he walked into the Petit home that July morning. His life was a string of poor decisions and violent encounters. Born into a fractured family, Komisarjevsky struggled from an early age with addiction, criminal activity, and instability. His record was riddled with burglaries, assaults, and drug-related offenses. Despite his young age, his past revealed a pattern of escalating violence and desperation. Stephen Hayes, 30, shared a similar troubled path. Known to police for robbery and sexual assault, Hayes was no stranger to the law or violent behavior. Like Komisarjevsky, he battled addiction and was homeless at times, drifting through a life marked by poor choices and dangerous associates. Both men were on a destructive trajectory, trapped in cycles of crime and substance abuse. Their lives intersected through mutual friends and shared desperation. And on that fateful day in July 2007, their paths converged on the Petit family home. Their original plan was straightforward: break into a house, steal cash and valuables, and get away. But desperation clouded their judgment. They were armed with weapons, Komisarjevsky carrying a shotgun, Hayes wielding a machete and a hammer, tools that would soon turn a simple robbery into a nightmare. Why the Petit family? It wasn't random chance. Neighbors described the Petits as a stable, middle-class family, living in an affluent town. But Komisarjevsky and Hayes targeted their home because they believed it would be an easy mark, unaware of the tragedy they were about to unleash. As the two men entered the house, the situation quickly escalated. Komisarjevsky and Hayes were high on drugs, impulsive and volatile. Their desperation gave way to rage, fear, and brutality. What was meant to be a quick robbery turned into a horrific crime spree. They bound the family, restrained Dr. William Petit in the basement, and terrorized Jennifer and her daughters. It was a deadly combination of reckless violence and cold calculation. This was no longer just about money. It was a terrifying ordeal, fueled by broken lives and dark impulses. The criminals' backgrounds reveal more than just their past crimes. They offer a window into the chaos and desperation that culminated in the worst family massacre in Connecticut's history. The early morning hours of July 23, 2007, began like any other in the Petit household. A quiet, sunny summer day in the peaceful town of Cheshire, Connecticut. But in less than an hour, the tranquility would be shattered forever. Joshua Komisarjevsky and Stephen Hayes, two men with troubled pasts and a dangerous mixture of drugs, desperation and violence, approached the Petit residence under the cover of dawn. Their plan was simple: break in, rob the family, and escape. But what actually unfolded that morning was far more horrific than anyone could have imagined. The two men, both with histories of addiction and criminal behavior, had spent the day drinking and using crack cocaine. Komisarjevsky was out on bail for unrelated crimes, while Hayes had been recently paroled. Their state of mind was volatile and unpredictable. As they forced their way inside the Petit home, their original plan spiraled out of control almost immediately. Dr. William Petit, a respected endocrinologist and devoted family man, was caught off guard. Komisarjevsky violently struck him with a baseball bat, shattering bones and leaving him bloodied and helpless. The assault was brutal and unrelenting, a terrifying display of raw aggression. Once incapacitated, Dr. Petit was dragged to the basement, chained to a pipe in near total darkness. His battered body ached from the blows, and the cold, damp basement became his prison, an unimaginable hell where hope seemed distant. Upstairs, Jennifer Hawk Petit, a dedicated nurse, and their two daughters, Haley, 17, a bright high school senior, and Michaela, 11, full of youthful innocence, were tied to their beds in the bedrooms. Terror gripped the family as the intruders controlled every moment, the house echoing with whispered threats and muffled cries. Jennifer's fear was compounded by her desperate attempts to protect her children, but there was little she could do against the merciless intruders. The men alternated between moments of cold calculation and wild, uncontrollable rage. In a chilling turn, Jennifer was forced into the family car and driven under guard to a nearby bank. The goal: withdraw as much cash as possible to fuel their escape. But Jennifer was not willing to accept her fate quietly. Inside the sterile bank lobby, she made a desperate, silent plea for help. Through subtle hand signals, blinking rapidly, waving discreetly, and even sliding a note across the counter hidden in her sleeve, she tried to alert the bank tellers to her dire situation. Tragically, her silent signals were missed or misunderstood, and the response from authorities was delayed. Time was slipping away. Back at the house, the nightmare escalated. Jennifer was subjected to repeated acts of sexual violence. The men's cruelty knew no bounds. Meanwhile, Haley and Michaela remained trapped in their rooms, powerless and terrified. Then, in a horrific final act, the intruders set the house on fire, smoke quickly filling the rooms, choking the young girls who had no chance to escape the toxic, suffocating air. Haley and Michaela perished in the flames, victims of an evil that stunned the entire community. Amid the chaos, something extraordinary happened. Despite his grave injuries and the chains binding him, Dr. Petit found a surge of strength and willpower. He broke free from the basement prison, crawling through the darkness and rubble. Bloodied, bruised, and in immense pain, he staggered to a neighbor's house, crying out for help. His survival was nothing short of a miracle. That day would leave scars on the town of Cheshire that time could never erase. The home invasion had lasted nearly 2 hours, a terrifying ordeal of unimaginable horror. The brutality committed inside a suburban home, once a symbol of safety and family love, shocked not only Connecticut but the entire nation. The morning after the attack, as firefighters battled the flames consuming the Petit family home, police arrived to find a devastating scene. The once peaceful house was scarred by violence and tragedy. Haley and Michaela Petit had succumbed to smoke inhalation, while Jennifer Hawk Petit's lifeless body bore evidence of a brutal assault. But amidst the chaos, one figure emerged, a battered and bloodied Dr. William Petit. Miraculously, he had escaped from the basement where he had been bound and severely beaten. Emergency responders rushed him to the hospital, but investigators were already combing through the house for clues. Every corner revealed signs of the horrors that had unfolded: shattered glass, blood spatters, and remnants of a violent struggle. The focus quickly turned to two men, Stephen Hayes and Joshua Komisarjevsky, both with troubling criminal backgrounds involving violence and drugs. Police found compelling forensic evidence at the scene linking the two suspects to the crime, including DNA and fingerprints. Within days, surveillance footage from local cameras and witness reports helped police track down Hayes and Komisarjevsky. Both were arrested and brought in for questioning, though their stories conflicted as each tried to downplay their involvement. Despite their denials, Dr. Petit's harrowing account of the attack, combined with forensic findings, painted a clear picture of their roles in the massacre. Investigators uncovered a disturbing level of premeditation and cruelty, far beyond a simple robbery gone wrong. The Cheshire home invasion was soon classified as one of the most heinous crimes in Connecticut history, setting the stage for a trial that would captivate the nation. The trial of Stephen Hayes began in late 2010, marking the start of one of the most high-profile and emotionally charged court cases in Connecticut's history. The public was eager to understand how two men could unleash such horrific violence on a peaceful family in their own home. Hayes faced numerous charges, including murder, kidnapping, sexual assault, and arson. The prosecution's case was built on overwhelming evidence, forensic data, eyewitness testimony, and detailed accounts from survivors. Each piece of evidence painted a brutal picture of the home invasion. The courtroom was gripped as Dr. William Petit took the stand. His testimony was raw and heartbreaking. He described the terrifying moments when he was beaten and left bound in the basement, the helplessness he felt as his wife Jennifer and daughters Haley and Michaela were held captive upstairs. His voice carried the pain of losing the women he loved most. Prosecutors described how Jennifer was forced at gunpoint to drive to a nearby bank to withdraw money, a desperate attempt by the intruders to fund their escape. In the bank, Jennifer tried to signal distress to the tellers, but unfortunately the warning went unheeded in time. Evidence revealed the cruel reality of the night. Jennifer was brutally assaulted and strangled. Haley and Michaela were bound and left to die in the fire set by the intruders, succumbing to smoke inhalation. The defense argued to cast doubt on Hayes' intent and state of mind, but the mounting evidence was hard to refute. The jurors were shown graphic crime scene photos and heard the chilling confessions from Hayes, who admitted to his role in the violence, but sought to minimize his responsibility. After weeks of testimony and deliberation, the jury found Stephen Hayes guilty on all counts. The judge sentenced him to death, a verdict that satisfied many who sought justice for the Petit family. The trial of Joshua Komisarjevsky, Hayes' accomplice, began shortly after. Komisarjevsky faced the same brutal charges and overwhelming evidence against him. Like Hayes, he had a criminal past filled with violence and addiction, which prosecutors argued fueled his desperation. Komisarjevsky's defense tried to separate him from Hayes' actions, but the story was clear: both men were partners in a horrific crime that devastated an innocent family. Witnesses recounted their harrowing experiences, and experts weighed in on the psychological damage inflicted on the survivors. Komisarjevsky's trial culminated in a guilty verdict and a death sentence. Yet, the legal saga was far from over. In 2015, the Connecticut Supreme Court ruled the state's death penalty unconstitutional, a decision that sparked heated debate across the nation. As a result, both Hayes and Komisarjevsky's death sentences were automatically converted to life imprisonment without parole. This ruling prompted Connecticut to become the 17th state to abolish capital punishment entirely, reflecting shifting attitudes toward justice and the death penalty. The Petite Family Massacre had forever changed not only those directly involved, but also the state's approach to criminal justice. New laws were enacted to tighten parole rules and protect communities from repeat offenders. The trial exposed the devastating impact of addiction, poverty, and violence, and raised difficult questions about how to prevent tragedies like this from ever happening again. Through the pain and loss, the Petite family story remains a powerful reminder of the resilience of survivors, the pursuit of justice, and the long road to healing. The aftermath of the Cheshire home invasion left a community in shock and a family forever broken. Dr. William Petite, the sole survivor, emerged from the basement severely injured, physically battered, and emotionally devastated. Despite multiple surgeries and an arduous recovery, the pain of losing his wife Jennifer and daughters Haley and Michaela remained with him every day. Yet from this unimaginable tragedy, Dr. Petite found a purpose. He founded the Petite Family Foundation, dedicating his life to supporting victims of violent crime and advocating for domestic violence prevention. The foundation funds programs that protect children, assist families affected by violence, and promote community awareness to prevent similar tragedies. The massacre also ignited a statewide debate on justice. The brutal nature of the crime and the subsequent trial of the perpetrators led Connecticut to repeal the death penalty, replacing it with life imprisonment without parole. Stricter parole laws were introduced, aiming to better protect the public. While the legal changes marked progress, the emotional scars in Cheshire run deep. The massacre serves as a grim reminder of the fragility of safety and the urgent need for vigilance in protecting families. Dr. Petite's story stands as a testament to resilience, turning personal tragedy into a mission of hope and healing. The foundation continues to honor the memory of Jennifer, Haley, and Michaela, ensuring their legacy inspires a safer future for others. The Cheshire home invasion left scars that no time can fully heal. The loss of Jennifer, Haley, and Michaela Petite devastated a community and raised profound questions about safety, justice, and forgiveness. Dr. William Petite's courage to survive and rebuild has become a beacon of hope amid tragedy. Through the Petite Family Foundation, his family's legacy now fuels efforts to prevent violence and support victims everywhere. This story reminds us that behind every headline are real lives forever changed, and the resilience of the human spirit in the face of unimaginable darkness. If you found this story powerful, don't forget to like and subscribe for more deep dives into true crime cases that reveal the truth beneath the headlines. Share your thoughts and reflections in the comments. How do you think justice was served in this case? Thank you for watching. Stay safe, stay vigilant, and we'll see you in the next story.